there, Miss J. Say. Hello, Authentic King. Hey, Misha. Hey there. Hey, is it Dana? Hi, Dana. I'm trying to fix my camera over here. I think I just knocked it loose. It might be a little crooked. Let's fix this. Alrighty. Let's fix this over here. Hello, everybody. My voyage unknown. How are you doing? Hello, everyone. Hey, just be real. How are you doing? Hello, Ronnie B. How are you doing? I'm doing great. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Hey, Dr. Hooper. How are you doing? Good to see you on your football night. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me. Misha, I missed you for this year's conference. Hey, the Coopers. I just realized my voyage unknown. I should have known. I see your faces. Hey, Misha, I missed you on my conference. You got to email me so that I can send you the conference so you can watch it. Because she's one of my helpers, my administrator's helpers. And you missed the conference. And I meant to email you. And I'm so sorry. Please email me and send me your number again, Misha, so I can call you and check up on you, see how you've been. Hey, Barbette. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in like 2,000 years. I'm doing great, Dr. Hooper. I hope you're doing well too. Barbette, I haven't seen you since what? Since Dallas. I hope you are doing well, ma'am. Looking good. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you. Hey there, Librarian 322, North Carolina. I was supposed to connect with somebody to go to North Carolina. It's not off the table, though. That's good. I know you're sitting there watching football and listening to me at the same time, right? I'm doing great, Barbette. I see you doing some great things on social media. Congratulations to you. I'm so proud of you. Hey, Valerie, how are you? Have I traveled? Oh, absolutely. I travel for conferences all the time. My first conference was in Dallas. My second one was in Atlanta. I was going to do one in California, but most people wanted to do it online, so I started doing it online. But every year I also travel with my mother. Those of you who know her, Helen Sadler, your destiny helper. Some of you guys know her as Apostle Helen Sadler. The first year we were in Hawaii. The second year we were in Chicago. And then this year last year we were in Dallas, and this year we were in Dallas. Next year we're going to be in Kansas City, Missouri. So those of you that are there in Missouri, I hope you'll be able to join us. It is a powerful platform that she has, as each process leads to freedom. And so, yes, Valerie, yes, ma'am. To answer that question, I do travel. I just came from New York in, was it March or May? I just came from New York in March or May. So I do travel. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Larry Gonzalez. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you for the, hey, Danielle, how are you doing? Oh, thank you. The blouse. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Will I come to London? If you send for me in London, I sure will. And matter of fact, it's funny that you said that, Vincent, because I was just telling somebody, and I said that last year. I said, as a matter of fact, I just had this conversation at the dinner table last night. And I was telling them, I said, I really would like to go to the UK. I really want to visit London. And so funny that you would ask that question, but absolutely. If you send for me, I will come and speak in London. Other than that, I will come and visit one day. I am coming to visit London. I don't care what anybody says. I'm coming to visit London. I want to come visit London, Italy, Greece. I want to look at the Rome. I want to go to Rome and visit the ruins. So I'm ready to travel. My daughter's going to college this week. And so that's going to give me a little more flexibility, especially to travel. So those of you, I do speaking engagements and I do travel. I travel around the city here too, whenever I do speaking engagements. And so I know some of you may know me for ministering in the churches, and then other ones know me for teaching about narcissism, narcissist abuse. It just depends on what is on your agenda. And I do look, thank you so much, sis. You coming up here for Thanksgiving, Danielle? Uh, but um, but yes, I do travel. I do. I absolutely do. So just in case you guys wanted to know, there we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Well, um, okay, thanks, Misha. Yes, please send me the email. Send me your telephone number because I don't know whether my phone downloaded it. I don't know what I did with it, but I want to call you and check on you, see how you doing, how things are doing. Seems like you're doing great stuff. Aloha is a aloha lala. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. But I definitely want to check up on you, see how things are going, because I love the work that you're doing, folks. Here, if you up here, I'll sure come and see you. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All righty, let's see. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to dedicate this question and answer and this hour of your time to focusing on parents. And the reason why I wanted to, I hope you come, Danielle. I hope you come. But you were listening to me on Clubhouse. I helped you survive. Oh, I am so honored. Thank you so much. And thank you for trusting me. Thank you. But I did wanted to, yes, I still do therapy. And this is Ronnie B. Veronica. Why does that name sound familiar? Please forgive me, Veronica. Why does that name sound familiar? But I am still, matter of fact, I am still doing therapy. For those of you that are in the Texas area, I have a Texas license that is pending. And so I will let you guys know once Texas has cleared and I've gotten my license. Then I have to, of course, apply for the insurance boards. So those of you in Texas, I will be able to provide you with services as well. Veronica, I know you. I know you. I just can't think of your last name. Texas, all right. Entire Texas. So when I get licensed, entire Texas. But listen, so tonight I just wanted to dedicate, and the reason why I wanted to dedicate this, excuse me, my little hair sticking up because I was running up the stairs. But the reason why I wanted to dedicate tonight to the parents is because what I noticed for the past 2 weeks is a lot of parents have been reaching out to me. A lot of parents have been making, not making comments, but telling me about some things that was going on with their children, things that were going on with their exes or children's father or children's mother. I've also had a lot of conversation with people that were dealing with their adult children. And so, it's funny that I had a conversation, just a brief conversation last week. And then after that, I think it was the last Sunday that was on, like that whole week, I've been getting a lot about children that are narcissists, children that have narcissist traits, children who have parents that are narcissists, and I've had a lot of questions. And so I've asked a special young lady, I will not say her name. I don't know. Hey, Dr. Ali. I don't know whether she's on tonight. I hope she's on tonight. She knows who I'm talking about. I wanted to dedicate this to the parents, but I also wanted to dedicate this to her because she's a powerful young woman who is coming out of this situation herself. And those of you that are here, my tribe, my family, if she ever reveals herself, this is not the time, but of course, if she ever reveals herself, I want you guys to make sure that you love her and encourage her because like some of you guys, she's starting off at the very beginning. She's just now coming to terms with the fact that this person is a narcissist. And for those of you that had to come to terms with the fact that you were possibly with a narcissist, hey there, Jesus Image Church Africa. All right, Africa in the house. But absolutely, I want to make sure that you guys love on her, you encourage her. You guys don't know who she is, but I want you to make sure that you provide her with encouragement because like many of you guys who I met probably around 2018 when I started this, I think it was 2018 that I think I started these social media posts. A lot of you were just coming to terms with what you were dealing with. Some of you had that aha moment. A lot of you had that epiphany. A lot of you had that revelation, and you started in it. It was a hard thing to digest that this person does not have the capacity to love you or your children. And so I wanted to talk tonight to those of you parents. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about those of you that have children by narcissists, those of you that may have children that are narcissists, and the adult children, but first I want to say this, I want to say that you have to understand whether it's your children's father or your children's mother. If that person is a narcissist, number one, they're not going to change. It's a personality disorder. Personality disorders don't change. And in this, and understand that my channel, and I understand that not everybody may fit that category, because some people may not, everybody is not a narcissist. Some people are just very toxic, immature, and have not grown up. There is some distinction to those that have narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder. And a lot of times when I'm here on the channel, you have to remember that although I am a therapist, I am not your therapist. That is the disclaimer on these, and this is for educational purposes only, okay? Don't go running and pointing your finger at nobody. For me to determine something like that, I would have to talk to you one-on-one, so you give me more information and me give you more information. But the most important thing to understand is that a person that has narcissistic personality disorder, those that are pathological, disordered, it's inevitable that they will cause some type of trauma in the lives of the people that love them, and the thing is when you talk about pathology or psychopathy meaning mental illness, mental disease, or pathology, you're talking about disorders, diseases, that's a very common word in the medical field. These individuals that that something's wrong with them. There is something mentally and medically, there's something wrong with them. And it is inevitable that their behavior, the way that they think, the way that they act, their behavior, the things that they do, and sometimes the physical abuse that they do, it's inevitable that the person that is in a relationship with them, whether it's your child, whether it's your parents, whether it's your intimate partner, they will cause trauma in your life. Many of you do have trauma disorders. A lot of you are in therapy, and hey Karen, hey Peter, but you are in, you have been traumatized by a person that you deeply love. And the thing that happens is that you look at this person through the lenses of your good attributes. Now, I know many of you have probably been traumatized to a point where I make mistakes and I'm not a perfect person. And there is no such thing as a perfect person. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship. There just happens to be people that are perfect for that person, and that person is perfect for them with their flaws and all. And healthy relationship doesn't mean that these people are perfect. People still come in with their own life. They've come from certain places. They've experienced certain things. And when you decide to do life together, you're learning this person. Narcissists get in a relationship. They don't come in to learn you. They come to interrogate you and to find out what your weaknesses are, to include their own children. And children are the most vulnerable people that you can, that you have a relationship, the most vulnerable people, because they're so trusting. They trust without thinking, they trust without knowing, they just trust. And a narcissist is a predator, and and they prey on people. And there's different types, and we'll talk about that another live. I've done that before. And you have to understand that if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, narcissists do not change. Most people think, well, they've changed and I've got hope. You can have as much hope as you want to, but they're not going to change because it's a personality disorder. And usually with time, as they get older, they get worse. They usually get worse. They don't start off the same way, but they usually get worse. And if you have children by a narcissist, there are some things that you can expect. Number one, there is no such thing as co-parenting in a situationship. I always call it a situationship. That's not a relationship. That's a situationship. There is no such thing as co-parenting. It's co-counter-parenting. You're trying to co-parent because you feel like, and it's the right thing to do. A child deserves their parents. But when you have a parent that is toxic, when you have a parent that is abusive, you have to protect your child at all costs. Now, one thing that I can't stand, and sometimes the thing that I hear over and over again, he's a good father. Even though him and I didn't get along and he was abusive to me and he did this and he did this and did this, but he's an excellent father. Or she's an excellent mother. Me and her couldn't be together because she was this and she abused me and she did this and she did this and this, we can keep going. But she's an excellent mother. Okay, first of all, if that person has those tendencies to abuse you, whether it's a father or whether it's the mother, that is not a good parent, because they're setting an example and they're laying a foundation in what those children see. And 9 times out of 10, will those children get out of your house, either they're going to be the abuser or they're going to be abused. They're going to gravitate to the very thing that they've gotten out of the household from. One of the things that my sister, her name is Tasha Leland. You guys go look her up on Instagram. Make sure you follow her. Excellent, powerful young woman. But Tasha Leland always says, and she is from the, where is she from? Not Trinidad, not Haiti. I can't think of where she's from. But one of the things that she always says is, I think it's an old African proverb, and what she says is that when you leave home hungry, you go into the world starving. And a lot of these children, when they're in a home with a narcissist, you have to understand that a narcissist does not have the capacity to love. Narcissists do not have the capacity to love, and most of the time you look at them through the lenses of your good attributes. And the very thing that you say is I don't understand why they are doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I can't understand why a parent would do this to a child. The reason why you can't understand, because it's unimaginable to you, because that's not the traits that you have. You've never been inside of a narcissist's mind, so you don't understand how a narcissist thinks. I know the streaming keeps pausing because I think there's some internet glitches. So I apologize. That's why whenever I see it glitch, I try to stay on one topic. I don't glitch, but I try to stay on one topic before it turns back on. So I apologize on Instagram. It may be glitching because of the internet. I don't know if everybody's on internet tonight, so please forgive me. Let me see. Let me look, because I see it glitching. Let me look. Give me a second. Okay. Am I back on Instagram? Am I back on Instagram? Can you just be real? Can you let me know if I'm on? I'm good? Okay. Let me just make sure. But it looks like I'm okay. But okay. But understand, okay, thank you. But understand that when you are when you have a narcissist as a partner, as a parent, remember, if they are abusing you, if they're mistreating you, what type of foundation, or what are they laying down? What is the foundation, and what are they showing these children? You know, so they're a good father, but yet they're mistreating the mother. They're a good mother, but yet they are disrespecting and dishonoring the father. You know, women leave out of the home with these bitter women that have abused or misused or talked to her husband crazy, talked to the father crazy, and then they get out into the world and they have no respect for men whatsoever. They talk to men crazy because that's how their mom used to do it, and then they look for men that allow them to do it. And when I say allow them to do it, I mean sometimes they get broken men that just want to be loved as well. So ladies, men want to be loved too. And so sometimes, you know, they gravitate to women that are very similar to their own mothers, you know. But what happens is that they gravitate to these women, and these women just, you know, and hey, Cicely, how are you? But they gravitate to these type of women that are abusive, you know, just like their mothers may have been abusive, you know, talk crazy to them. So they end up, you know, gravitating toward women like that. And these women are disrespectful and dishonorable, you know, and so, but this is what they see in the household. Father disrespected the mother, mother disrespected the father. And when I talk about these narcissists, that's what I'm talking about. Narcissists who are abusive. So when you say that they're good to my children, are they really good to your children when your children leave out of they're love bombing the kids because they're easy supply. So they're love bombing the children. And it's easy to love bomb a child because the child just wants to be loved by the parent, you know. And when a narcissist has children, a lot of times these narcissists have children because they're creating their own supply, you know. Now let me not think, but let me show you a female. Some narcissists, female narcissists, have children, or they get pregnant because they like the attention that they get when they're pregnant. Then they like the attention that they get when the babies are little. The problem that you run into is that as the babies become more independent, you know, the parent decides they want to have more, so they keep having kids because the children become more independent. And the more independent the child gets, the more hostile they become. And so as long as these are children that are young and toddlers and maybe teenagers that still love the parent, but there comes a time, especially if you are interjecting and you're teaching, teaching, and I'll talk about that in a minute, you're teaching, what happens is the children will grow up and they begin to see what you're talking about. And when I say talking about, that doesn't mean you're talking against the parent, because that's a fine line you're walking across. But eventually when that child begins to see that parent, how cruel. And it's like, I heard one child say today, teenagers say today, that my father wasn't like that when I was younger. But the older that I got, and what it was is, the older she got, the more she began to see his true nature. The older that he got, is like the more hostile he got, the more angry he was, the more ugly he was. You're in Bavaria. Where in Bavaria are you at, Sep Hep? Where in Bavaria? Where in Bayern are you at? But they become, angrier, they become ruder, they become crueler, and as they get older, they begin to rip, because of the fact that the kids are becoming more independent. So they don't need their parent as much. And when I say need, they still love them, but they don't need the parent as much, and they're becoming more independent. So what ends up happening is that narcissist parent, their true nature starts coming out. And so a lot of the kids, as they get older, they begin to recognize, and they begin to recognize how mean or how hateful these narcissist parents are, right? Now, the next thing is parental alienation. One of the things that's sad, women do it, women narcissists, or women do it, even if they're not narcissists, women do it a lot, and men will do it as well. But that parental alienation is when that parent tries to vet the child, tries to divide the child from the good parent, or divide the child. Or a lot of you may have experienced this as men, when women go to court and they accuse you of things that that you haven't done, and God forbid, for a fact that I have never done that to my child. But a lot of times you'll see women do that in the court, and in the court, you'll see them accuse the father of heinous crimes, accuse the father of violating the children, or doing whatever they can, calling CPS, whatever they can, to try to cause a divide between the parent, between the good parent or the parent. You see that a lot when it comes to women, but narcissists do this as well, men and women alike, narcissists alike. And what they do is sometimes they'll talk directly to the child. Your mom or your dad is this, and I can't believe they do this. And so they keep pumping information in that child to cause that child to dislike. The reason why I've lost my business, the reason why I don't have any money, is because your mom or your dad is taking all my money. The reason why I don't have a car, or I can't, and this is it's everything is that parent's fault. So eventually what happens with that child becomes angry at the other parent, under the impression that whatever that parent is saying, that narcissist parent is saying, must be true. So I'm angry because it's your fault that the family broke up. It's your fault that mom or dad lost their job. It's your fault that we don't ever have food the same way mom or dad has food. And so they're causing a divide. That's that parental alienation, to a point where they pull them away and they convince the child that this is a bad parent. And so it's hard a lot of times to win that child back over, but it's not possible. It's not impossible. No, it's not impossible. It's a lot of work. Another thing you have to understand, when you're talking to your children, you have to have age-appropriate conversations with your children. You can't just tell them, that your mom or your dad doesn't love you. You are causing a bigger problem when you do that. You're really diverting them in the wrong direction. You're really going to damage your child. I don't care how much you're angry, that is still their parent. You still have to be very careful at the words that you choose, because there's going to come a time where they're going to ask you, but does my mom or dad love me? You can't be so hurt and so angry that when you open up your mouth, you damage that child, because that's what's going to cause them to spiral out of control. You can't tell them, no, they don't love you. They don't have the capacity to love. A child does not understand that. You cannot tell a child that. What you can say, though, is that they love you the only way that they know how. And what you do is you begin to define what love is. quality. Do you enjoy this? Do you like when you do this? This is what love is. Love is not a feeling. Love is caring. So you're pumping that information in there when they're at home with you. You're giving them the information. This is what love is, and this is how love. You see how you felt, and you felt respected. You felt this. So everything that you're doing, you're counteracting, or you're basically taking something and you're explaining it without pointing the finger at the other parent, right? And then what you're telling them is that parent is loving you the only way that they know how. If it's just spending a bunch of money and throwing money at you, but they're not spending any time, I know that hurts. But they don't know how to love. They don't know what to do, and it's hard to explain. Eventually, you can start explaining to them about mental illnesses, understanding mental illnesses and understanding empathy and, when age-appropriate conversation. You have to gauge your child to know how much your child knows. How much did your child understand? And that's how you gauge them and talk to them. You can't just tell them, no, they don't love you. What I'm telling you as parents is this: a narcissist does not have the capacity to love the way that we love. They don't have emotional empathy. They have cognitive empathy, meaning they understand as they're watching, they begin to understand how emotions work. So I know if I do this, it'll make you cry. I know if I do this, it'll make you love me. So it's that trauma bonding, because they begin to understand what I need to do in order to get you to react. I know what, and then like sometimes if they don't know what emotion to have, they'll watch you to see what emotion you have, and then they try to top you on the emotion because they get attention. Like funerals, sometimes they don't know how to respond at a funeral, or how to, what are you supposed to do? So they watch people, they watch people at the funeral, and then they start crying, but it's almost like overboard, it's overboard crying. And you'll notice that if you ask it, all the attention gets turned back to them. The emotional empathy, though, being able to put their feet in other people's shoes and feel what they feel. God forbid any of you, and those of you that have lost a parent that you loved, my deepest condolences. And this is not to trigger you. So if this triggers you, I'm just telling you, trigger warning, but if any of you have ever lost a parent, my parents are still alive. But if I find out that you have lost your parent, and I'm listening to you and you're telling me how it feels, and the first year was rough, and when it happened, it felt like I lost oxygen, and then the empathy part is, hey, cluster breathe free, Karen. But the empathy part is, oh my gosh, one day, it's inevitable that my parent might pass away. That not might, it's inevitable. Or you hear someone talking about watching their parent age, and you could tell that they're aging and they're getting older and they're getting a little weaker, and they're or dementia. So you be able to put your feet into their shoes, and you start thinking like, is this how I'm gonna feel? Will I be prepared for this? Oh my gosh, that must be a painful situation. It might be a painful situation. I cannot imagine being in this world. So that is called emotional empathy, being able to put your feet in somebody else's shoes and feeling their pain, even if it hasn't happened yet. Or if it has happened, you know what it feels. You can't say, I know what that feels like, and point your finger. I know how you feel. No, you don't, because everybody feels differently. Some people are actually, believe it or not, some people who had narcissist parents are actually relieved that they're gone, but they're afraid to tell you because they're afraid that you're going to judge them. And so you know what it's like to lose a parent, but you don't know what they feel like. And so you have empathy. A narcissist does not do that. A narcissist cannot do that. A narcissist refuses to do that. They don't want to do that, because guess what? It takes too much attention away from them. Because I need to figure out what I can get. If I'm going to show these emotions, what am I going to get out of these emotions? If I show these emotions, what is it that I can get out of it? Am I going to get attention? And then it's positive or negative. Is positive or negative. So if I can't get positive attention from you, then I can still get negative attention from you, because I'm going to make you react. Everything is about reaction. So now imagine you have children by this person, and one of the things you have to understand, that a narcissist, if you decide to leave, a narcissist is the type person that anything that you hold valuable is what they come after. Anything you hold valuable. If some of you may not have children, but you have pets, you have fur babies, right? They'll come after your fur babies. And nowadays, which is crazy, and I've heard this recently, that somebody was getting a divorce. So the narcissist, he was a narcissist, he wanted visitation rights with the dog. I know our fur babies are family. I understand that. And I understand some of you guys, Some of you guys may not understand that, and that's okay. And some of you guys do understand that because you have fur babies. But you know that they don't have no interest in that pet whatsoever. But they just go to court and they decide that I want visitations with the dog or with the cat. All because of the fact that that's what you value. Um, I know Shirley, she was on Clubhouse, and I don't know if she's on. Shirley was on Clubhouse, and she said that the narcissist that she was married to traumatized her bird to a point that one of the birds died, and the other one had PTSD. The other one has PTSD and plucks his feathers. So, but the animals feel. But a narcissist will come after anything that is valuable, especially if you have children, because that's valuable to us. And because of the value, because of the value you have for your children, they come after the thing that's going to hurt you the most, to drive a stake in your heart like you're a vampire or something. But they will come after you. They will come after your children to get, a lot of them will seek custody of your children just so you don't have the kids. Just so you don't have the kids and you have to ask them for visitations. So they'll come out and they'll accuse you of being crazy. They'll accuse you of having mental illnesses. They'll accuse you of they'll accuse, male and female alike will accuse you of doing things to your kids that you know that you've never done, and they will abuse you in the court. Here in the state of Washington, they call it abusive litigation. They will take you into the court and then try to spend up all your money, or they'll try to file all sorts of claims against you, try to see your financials, try to do this, try to anything. But the sad part about it is they try to get custody of your kids, and majority of don't even care about the kids like that. The kids become a pawn in the game of chess. And so they use those kids because they know they can get a reaction from you. Because as a parent, what are you going to do? You're going to cry. I'm gonna beg, I'm gonna plead, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. So in their mind is power and control. In their mind is power and control, and that's what they're gonna come after, the thing that you value the most. Some of you may not have kids, you may have a house. So if they know that you like that house, they'll come after that house. You need to sell the house so we can split the profits. And you may have been the one that purchased it. Or, just anything. You have to understand that a narcissist is not gonna change. A narcissist is not a good parent. Is not a good parent. I'm telling you, the narcissist is not a good parent. Is not a good parent. If that person is abusing you, men and women alike, if that narcissist is abusing you, that's not a good parent, because they're setting your kids up for failure in the future. That's what they're doing. They're setting your kids up for failure in the future. Now, let me say this as well. Those of you that are concerned about disciplining your children, you got to remember that a narcissist will present themselves to their children as the fun parent. They will do everything that they think that child wants, and especially age specific. Buy them a bunch of toys, always take them on trips, always take them to amusement parks. Whatever they ask for, they get them. It's called love bombing, and they're trauma bonding those kids. Everything that they want. And so what happens is because you can't afford to get what they get or to take them then you're not the good parent. Most children crave what they don't have at home. So if the parent, the narcissist parent, is not in the home, then what do you think they're going to crave? The absent parent, because that you're always there. And that's one thing my mom taught us all, you're always there. So they're going to crave the absent parent. That's just how it works. And then the narcissist adds that salt on top of it by trying to throw money. You ask me for something. Anytime you ask me for money, trips, whatever, I'm going to give it to you, because they're trying to win the child over by buying that child. The one thing that I tell you as parents, don't compete with a narcissist, because some of you don't have the money to compete with a narcissist. Some of you don't, and some of you do, but it's not a matter of competing with a narcissist for the attention of your child. It's about making sure that you maintain proper boundaries, discipline, order and discipline in your house. Child should have chores. They have temper tantrums to be consequences to their actions, positive or negative, and you have to be consistent. It doesn't matter if they're having more fun and they don't want to come home because you're too strict. No, what happens is you maintain that discipline. You got chores. There's the positive and negative consequences to your actions. You don't come in my house and disrespect me, because there are consequences to that. You have to be that parent. And in your mind, you're thinking, but if I'm that parent, they're not going to love me. But what's going to happen is when they get older, they're going to have respect for you and not that other parent. I promise you, there's more respect for you because you maintain your boundaries. Don't play with. It's gonna hurt a lot of times. Don't play with me. Don't disrespect me. You disrespect me, the ABC gonna happen. And then a lot of times what that narcissist will do is try to get them to spy in the house. Now that's also a court thing, where you have that parental alienation, number one, and number two, where they're using the child to get information out of your house. When they're using the child, that is something you're going to have to talk to an attorney with. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you is you can also contact, there's a coach by the name of Judge Anthony Bompiani. Judge Anthony Bompiani used to be a family court judge, and he also used to be a family lawyer. He understands how narcissists conduct themselves in court. Now, he's not going to be able to be your lawyer, and can't give you legal advice, but he can guide you and coach you into what paperwork to file, because he'll look at the state that you're in, what paperwork to file, the next steps, what not to do in court, what to do in court. So he can give you all that information for a lot of people that cannot afford a lawyer. A lot of people cannot afford a lawyer. And a lot of times you can do it yourself. And so he will assist you, and a lot of his classes are free. A lot of his webinars, a lot of the classes are free. If you want to hire him as a coach, it'll be much cheaper than actually getting a lawyer. And I'm not saying, he'll let you know that he can't give you legal advice because he's not in your state, but he can tell you what paperwork you need to file, what to watch out for, what not to do, what to do. You see what I mean? And so a lot of you need someone that is trained, and some of you cannot afford a lawyer, so you talk to him. You can hire him as a coach. You can talk to him, and he'll take you through the process of what you need to do in the courtroom. But ladies and gentlemen, having children by a narcissist is not easy. Now let's talk about parents that have children that may be narcissists. Children that may be narcissists. Now listen, I've talked about this before, and I keep talking about the new study of pathological love relationships by Dr. Sandra Brown. Congratulations to her, because I think she just got a doctor's degree. But Dr. Sandra Brown, who has the Institute of Reduction of Relational Harm and Public Education of Pathology. I have to go look it up again. The Institute, we call it the Institute, okay? But this is one of the biggest things that she teaches all the time. Most of the time, and I used to teach the same thing because that's all I knew based off of me going to, a graduate program. That's all I knew is that normally something has happened in the developmental years that caused them to develop a personality disorder. Well, now new studies have come out. Well, there's over 30 years worth of studies, showing that now there's neurobiology, there's genetics, not just environmental, how they're influenced environmental, how they're influenced in the home. A lot of them have been abused. A lot of them have been rejected, neglected, abused, but some of it is also genetic. 9 times out of 10, if you got narcissists in the family, great-grandmother, grandmother, mother, somewhere in your family, you're going to find a narcissist. It's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, that sometimes we as parents end up having a child that also has NPD. And you probably go look, and one of those parents had a narcissistic parent. And sometimes the hardest thing to have to swallow is the fact that you may have been married to a narcissist and don't even realize it. Narcissists beget narcissists, trust me. Narcissists beget empaths. Narcissists beget children that are traumatized, that may not have, and understand that a lot of people don't like the term empath. And empath is more of a new age terminology, and really it's a description of highly sensitive people. My mother did a conference called The Evolution of the Empath, and we had a lot of people on the panel that talked about the empath, how they were. She brought it from a biblical perspective. She allowed me to speak, and I brought it from a clinical perspective, how neurologically they are created. The mirror neurons, the neurology behind it, the way the brain works, that these individuals are actually very, very different than hey there, Bridget. But how they're neurologically made up. And so there is medical, medical research that actually describes what a highly sensitive person is like. So medically, they are actually neurologically different than the average person. Likewise, with the narcissist, if you put them under an fMRI, which is like an MRI, and you scan their brain is totally different than the normal brains. You have like people that have autism, you have people that have like dementia, and then you have people that have like narcissistic personalities, or their brain is totally different. But also the empath, their mirror neurons are even more sensitive. And so with these individuals, when you have narcissists, you will create different spectrums of people. Someone that may have narcissism, someone that may be highly sensitive, or what people will call an empath. That's the only way you describe it. Or you have people that are neither nor. They're pretty normal people, but they're traumatized. And could be ugly and a little toxic. And so for some of you parents, it's a possibility that, number one, you may have been married to a narcissist and don't even know it. And now that you're learning things about narcissism, learning things about narcissistic personality disorder, now it's almost like a slap in the face. Like you look back and you start thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, that's what he did, or that's what she did. Oh my gosh, is it possible that I was? Is it possible? And then you have children that have some similar traits. And a lot of times with these children, it's like they go from 0 to 100, like you owe them something. It's like you did something, you owe them something. And you may have grown up, a lot of us that are adults, and you made it a point to apologize to your children. I have made some mistakes in my life as a parent. You did not come with a manual. Hey, coaching spirits. But they did not come with a manual. Children are not born with manuals. Each one of them are a different model. So you got one that may be a Cadillac. You got another one that's a Range Rover. You got one that's a Pinto. You got another one that may be an Escort. You guys remember the Ford Escorts? You got another one that's an electric car. Each one of those children are very different, and they don't come with a book. But in the development of children, a lot of times, you watch them and they have little narcissistic traits. Those are kind of normal developments for children of that age. Most little kids are selfish. Most little kids, mine. Most little kids are competitive. My eye is big. My eye is bigger. My daddy's bigger than your daddy. Oh, my daddy bigger than your daddy. And then you get into those teenage years where they're very competitive in sports and everything. And for some of you, now that you're getting more information, you're noticing that child, they're doing that, but it's almost unempathetic. It's almost like they don't have any emotions or sympathy. It's almost like, it's not that they don't get it. It's like they don't get it. And I'm trying to teach them. I'm doing the best to try to give them. You're trying to stuff them with information, and I just don't understand. I'm talking until my face is blue and I keep on. They just don't get it. It's not the fact that they just don't get it. It might be the fact that they don't want to get it. It may be they could be disordered. It could be, and then if you've apologized, keep in mind when you apologize and you take responsibility and accountability for something you have done. I'm sorry, I was young, I didn't know what I was doing. I may have hurt you. I wish I could change things, but I can't. Please forgive mama, or please forgive daddy, but what happens is once you apologize, you've done what you were supposed to do. You put the responsibility back in their lap. And once they have that, they have a choice. Yes, I forgive you, or no, I don't forgive you. If they say, no, I don't forgive you, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to make you pay them back. They want, every time they talk to you, they want to hold something against you. They want you to keep on apologizing. They want you to keep feeling bad. They want you to feel guilty. And some of you feel like that. Every time I talk to my child, it's like they try to make me feel guilty, and they keep bringing up the same thing, and they just won't let it go. And I keep apologizing, but it's like they don't get it. No, once you've apologized, you've apologized. Why are you spending the rest of your life apologizing to a child, even if it is an adult child? I don't care how bad it was. Once you've taken responsibility and accountability of your action, you put it back in their lap. It's up to them to accept the apology. If they don't accept the apology, I'm sorry that you don't take the apology. I hope that you can work that out. Then they get angry because it's almost like eating poison and trying to watch to see if you're going to be unalive. And that's exactly what's happening. Apology is not about when you forgive someone, it's not about them. It's about freeing you from the bondage that you're under, because a narcissist will hold you hostage. And to forgive them is to let them go so they don't have any more control. And you can live your life. And one of the biggest things with a narcissist, if you really want to hurt a narcissist, live your life. If you really want to hurt a narcissist, live. And that's even with your own children. It's unfortunate because they want you, and they know that with a parent, what will we do? We keep catching them, keep catching it, keep catching them, keep catching them. And they'll drain you to a point where you're sick. They'll drain you to a point where you'll run yourself ragged trying to save your child. And you'll be surprised at how resilient they really are if you just back up and let them fall on their face. That's it. That's the last time I'm doing that. This is on you. You're on your own. I'm going to let you fall on your face. There's only so much you can do as a parent. You don't owe them anything, but they try to they try to hold you hostage because I'm not going to forgive you. So I'm going to hold you hostage. They mistreat you, they mishandle you, they disrespect you, they dishonor you. One thing that I would do if I was you as a parent is back up. Back up. Because one thing I'm not going to let you do, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect or dishonor me. I'd much rather disconnect from you than allow you to keep on dishonoring me and disrespecting me. Because they forget that some of us used to be in the streets. Some of them kids forget we used to be in the streets. And the sad part about it is that, but you old now. I ain't that old. Look, I ain't that old. Some of y'all, right? That's it. I ain't that old. Some of these kids forget that we used to be back in the streets. We used to be out there in the streets fighting. They don't see us like that. They don't see us like that. But you cannot allow them to hold you hostage. You cannot allow them to have you sleep and sleep. You got to sleep good at night. You got to sleep good at night. Because if you have a child that has the traits or are narcissists, are actually narcissists, they'll wear you out. And the one thing a narcissist looks for is reaction. You cannot react. You have to respond and not react. They're looking for a reaction. That's what keeps them going. That's what makes them feel empowered. That's the fuel that they're looking for. The reaction versus the response. A response means that you take the time and be quiet and listen before you say something. You got to listen more and speak less. I'm guilty of doing it sometimes. Sometimes I'll pop off at the mouth at the wrong time, and I have to please forgive me, that was a mistake on my part. So you have to learn, and I'm a therapist, I have to learn to listen, listen more and then respond. And with those narcissists, if you listen, they'll tell on their own selves. They will tell on their own self. They'll tell you their status. They'll tell you their location. They'll tell you what they're thinking. They'll tell you what they're going to do next because they're looking for you to react. And if they can get you to, a person that has control over you is the person that can get you to react, not respond. That one thing that they hate is when you take the time to respond, even if it means, hold on, let me think about that. What is there to think about? I've already told you. I've already told you that. So basically what they're saying is what is there to think about? I already told you how you're supposed to think. I said, hold on and let me think about it. I mean, what more is there to think about? I've already told you. But you see how they think? It's all about a narcissist. It's all about them. They could have assaulted you and did whatever, and the minute you call the police, and the minute that you hold them responsible or accountable, they'll flip it around and they make it seem like you're at fault. It was your fault. You made me do this. I love you so much that you just drive me crazy and you made me do this. I can't believe you're ending my career. I can't believe that you're doing this. I can't believe you're ruining my life. And then what first thing you think is you're right. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But you're not holding them accountable for what they've done. So everything that they've done now is your fault. Everything that they've done, they've messed up their own career. They've messed up their own life. But then all of a sudden it's your fault. No, it's not. And that's children and that's intimate partners. So hopefully this has helped some parents out there. You got to live, sisters and brothers, you got to live. Cousins and nieces and nephews, family, daughters, peers alike. You've got to live. You can't go to bed and wake up with migraine headaches and spinal cord pain and stomach problems. And some of you got a buildup of cortisol in your stomach, and your stomach is poked out and you're not even fat. A lot of women, we carry that stress in our bellies. And so we got these big bellies, thank God I don't want my big belly no more. But we got these big bellies because you're stressed. Gentlemen, you too. You got a big belly because you're stressed. Now, I'm not talking about those of you that eat good. Now, there's a difference. but you can also tell that there's a difference, that you just swole. It's not even a I eat a lot and I eat good belly. It's one of those, I'm kind of swole belly. That's that cortisol, that stress in your stomach. But all that buildup in your stomach is going to, affect your heart. Thank you, Dr. Hooper. Yeah. See? And Dr. Hooper, you're a powerful man. But you know what? And sometimes they look at us like, you strong. And but they don't know. Well, put it this way: people that don't have children don't understand how much we love our children and how much we would do for our children. And a lot of times, how much you blame yourself for your child and their behaviors. Sometimes we blame ourselves for how they turned out. We blame ourselves for the mistakes that we have made, or what we've allowed, or what we have allowed them to see. A lot of times we went through abuse and they've witnessed that abuse, and we blame ourselves, and now they're angry. We know that they're traumatized, and now they're angry, and then they mistreat us. And so we try to make it up to them by trying to be the best parent, give them things, go look for them. They just do anything to try to prove to these children that you love them. But you have to ask yourself, when is enough enough? I was sharing with my friend. I was almost 300 pounds, y'all. I was almost 300 pounds. Just Be Real met me when I was losing some weight. So I was still big at the time. So I was losing some weight. But when they told me that they were going to put rods in my back, they wanted to do surgery and put rods in my back, and there's a possibility that I may be in a wheelchair. And I asked them, what if you put rods in my back? How? What is the percentage of this? The surgery being effective, or will it help? And he says a 50-50 chance. A 50-50 chance. 50-50 chance. Now, sometimes my sense of humor come in at the wrong time, and I think I was joking, but I was nervous. And I was like, I like wearing stilettos. I said no. And they're looking at me like, she got back issues and she wearing stilettos. I was almost 300 pounds. Not only that, I used to have braces, and then I had those permanent retainers, and half of it was my doctor's degree when I was going through my dissertation, and the other half was the stressor of being in a situationship like that. But I cracked the retainers, and the bottom teeth started moving out, and I paid all that money to have braces, and the teeth started moving out the bottom of my gum. Then I started having, I don't know, Dr. Hooper, what is that called? When you have, it's the pain in the jaw. It's on the tip of my tongue. But when you clench your jaws all the time, you don't even realize you're clenching your jaws, and you start getting the, it's on the tip of my tongue. But it's the pain that you get in the muscles in the side of your jaw. Yeah, TMJ. But you get that, and you get the TMJ, it's on the side of your jaws. Then I started cracking my teeth, and I didn't know I was cracking my teeth. Yeah, TMJ, clenching. Yep. Then I started cracking my teeth. I cracked my teeth out at the top, and I cracked my teeth down at the bottom. And it got to a point. And then at the time when I got out of the military, I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. And the thing about it is that whenever my stress level would go too high, the nerves in my back would cause me not to, TMJ. But I was a lot of people in the church who knew I used to drive a Camaro, a stick shift. And so what happened was my back would go out, and the sad part about it is I still had to drive. I'd take my baby to school. So imagine my back just went out, and I didn't know that when your back seizes up, hey, Mercedes, that's my baby. That's my baby girl. That's my oldest child. Hey, Mercedes. But what happened was my back would go out, and I'm the type that tries not to express pain. And so the only way you knew I was in pain is you hear me. That's all you hear me do. Or I would just keep really still. But what happened, I didn't know. But what happened was you think that you're going to stand up straight. But it actually pulled. Now I understand how older people are hunched over like that. But it will pull me down, so I couldn't lift my head up. And then I had to drive a stick shift. Now, on one hand, driving that stick shift, it actually exercised my back. But it was so painful because I could barely move that stick shift, right? But imagine that, and all that stress, and every time the stress level go up, those nerves in my back would seize the disc. I actually heard it in my ear. A lot of you guys can hear what's going on in your body. I heard it, and I heard it go, and I heard the disc come out in my back. I heard the disc when it came out, and as soon as that disc, I was like, oh, it's just a matter of a few hours where the pain is going to set in. And then I couldn't do anything after that because my nerve, and then I had the pinched nerve on the side where they had to go and cut the nerves in my back, and that it was terrible, y'all. And so I'm just sharing that with you guys because some of you guys are actually going through that in your body. You know, some of you guys are going through that in your body. And when you are a parent and you love your children that much, sometimes you have to plant that seed and leave it alone. Because we'll go to the end of the earth for our children. We'll fight until we can't fight. Got looking like the Terminator. Remember when the Terminator, he was all jacked up and it was just his arm pulling the upper body? That's us as parents. But sometimes you have to know when to, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. That's the gambler, right? Kenny Rogers. Sometimes you have to back up. You know, no matter how much it hurts, sometimes you got to back up and stop and leave them alone. You know, because no matter, you got to plant the seed and walk away. It may not be up for you to water that seed. And for those of you that believe in God, you know, believe in Jesus, that's, you know, I always give you guys that confession that I have. Sometimes you have to give it to them so that you can live. You know, you can't die over your kids. There you go. He said, let go and let God. There's nothing that you can do but just believe after that. And those of you that are different religious belief system or spiritual belief system, whatever it is that you believe, you know, you're going to have to follow your faith. You know, either that, you're going to have a heart attack, you may have a stroke, you know, more medical problems, obesity, you know, diabetes, stomach problems. Some of you are young. Some of you end up having fertility issues or reproductive problems. Some of you guys have issues with GERD, acid reflux, you know, issues with your anything, nerve issues. My nerve issues ran all the way down my leg, you know. And so I'm telling you guys, you know, sometimes you have to back up so that you can live. You know, we say, I'll die for my children. Die. No. And my baby girl right here on camera, she know I had to, now she's not a narcissist, of course, but she knows I had to cut her off a couple of times too, because I was not going to allow you to let me get sick while I'm trying to help you. Am I right, Mercedes? Sometimes I had to cut her because I loved her that much. I had to cut her off and back up and let her bump her head about 4,000 or 5,000 times until she finally got it. And then she finally got it. You know, am I right, Mercedes? Yeah, I can look on Instagram. My daughter is on there. She'll tell you. She said, right, LOL. Sometimes you got to back up. Now, she's not a narcissist, so I'm not referring to her. That's just, you know, the normal growth of our but some of you guys that have kids that are that harsh to you, you know, that are that ugly to you. You said just a few, about 5,000 times, Mercedes. But you jumped off the bridge many times. YOLO! Mama catch me. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to dedicate tonight to all those parents that are, you know, you have baby mothers or fathers that are narcissists. Some of you guys are finally coming out of the situation. It's the hardest thing you ever had to do emotionally because you're trauma bonded. And when you are trauma bonded to that individual, you know, you love that person, but they have abused you and misused you. And a lot of the issues that you're having trauma issues. You have a trauma disorder issues, you know. Oh, I would love to come to the Bahamas. But you send for me, I'll come speak. You know, it depends too. I have to screen it. I don't go everywhere. But, you know, some of you are finally waking up and coming out of the situation. It's the hardest thing you ever had to do emotionally and maybe even financially. Some of you are finding yourself as single parents, having to raise these children. You know, not only that, now you've done your best to raise these children. You have done your best to financially support them. You have done everything. You travel to where they at. They need something. You there, and they treat you like garbage. They treat you like a nobody. They talk to you any kind of way. You know, you wouldn't take that from the average person. Why would you take that from your own child? You can love your child, but you're not going to disrespect me, and I'm going to just keep on having a conversation with you. I'm going to hang up because I'm going to save your life, because you're not going to disrespect or dishonor me. And that's how you guys have to think. And then some of you guys need to connect with Anthony Bompiani, especially if you cannot afford legal counsel. He can assist you where you can do it yourself in the court. Some of you guys are coming out of these situations, and sometimes you do have to use the right services, domestic violence services. Now, they don't understand everything about narcissist abuse. Now, the team that I work with, they do, but the common program for domestic violence, they don't teach about pathological individuals. Yeah, do not tolerate the disrespect. Absolutely, but some of the DV programs, they have the programs that you need and the legal support that you need. For some of you guys, they will assist you. They will assist you when it comes to legal assistance, shelters. Do not be that prideful. Some of you guys have lived a good, when I say financially good life, some of you are coming out of a situation where you had a lot of money and a lot of status. You got to let that go in order to live. And some of you guys have to swallow your pride and start all over again. Get into a shelter program where you can start all over again. They try to assist you with housing. They're going to assist you with food stamps, what they call them EBT now. Assist you with some type of medical care. Assist you with some type of job training to get you back out there into your career field. You'd be surprised at the things you can discover about yourself. But one thing that I can tell you is when you have peace in your house, you will do everything to protect your peace. You are not, and the longer you are by yourself, the more you enjoy peace. And peace is a beautiful thing, and you protect that peace, even from your own children. One thing my children know, I don't tolerate, don't bring no nonsense in my house. My house is a very peaceful house. Anybody comes in my house know they're going to get healing, and it's a peaceful house. We don't bring drama in my house, period. I protect my space. I protect my peace. I protect my space, and you guys have to remember, protect your space and protect your peace. Your children are adults, and they're going to make decisions, and no matter what seed you planted in them, they're still adults, just like we did. Now that we are mature, now that we are seasoned, we have aged like fine wine. I think it was was it you, Mercedes, or I think it was my daughter? I think it was Mercedes. And I said, I'm like fine wine. I've aged like fine wine. She says, that some wine turned to vinegar. Well, I ain't the cheap wine. I'm that fine wine. 1773, 1725, 1625. We age like fine wine. You don't gulp. And I don't drink. So let you guys know I don't drink. But I'm just using that as an example. But you got to keep your peace. And do you know that some people are so stressed out over their children, or stressed out over, the people that they were with, that they start prematurely aging? They look older than what they really are. I have seen, I promise you, I'm not lying, I have seen women in their 30s that look older than me. And I'm in my, I ain't gonna tell you my business, in my mid to late 50s, put it that way. I'm in my mid to late 50s. I'll just give you guys an area to work for with, mid to late 50s. But I've seen some women in their 30s that you can see on their face the stress that they are going through, the trauma that they are going through, and they look older than me. And I was shocked because I'm asking how old they are. They tell me they were like, I think one lady was maybe like 32, 33 years old. My daughter is 30, Mercedes, how old are you? 35. She's 35 years old. It's my oldest daughter. And I think this young lady was maybe 32 years old. And I was just having a conversation with her. She said, oh yeah, I'm 32 or 33. And I was like, I thought she was my age. She looked older than me. She looked older than me. But that's all I really wanted to say was that Halkiona, hi there, how are you? Oh, I told you business? I'm sorry. I'm 32. My daughter older than me. She's 36. I'm 32. Again. But listen, if just be real, if you can give me about 10 minutes, give me 10 minutes, I'm going to answer a few questions and I'm going to get out your hair. I'm gonna let everybody go to sleep. So I'm 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes and ask me some questions so that we can go. And remember, I got my coaching course, my first coaching course, module 1, coming up. So those of you that want to, those of you that want to enroll, I will have the enrollment, the advertisement, or like my mom would say, advertisement will be coming up soon. I will be advertising soon. I will be doing a live webinar to introduce you to the coaching program. I will be doing a live, and I will send out, on social media so that you can sign up for the live webinar where I'm going to talk to you about the coaching course and what I will be offering in that coaching course. And then I will give you an opportunity to sign up. Those of you, I will make it where you can afford it, whether you want to buy the whole program at one time or you want to pay per module. And I believe I'm going to have 12 modules. There's 12 modules, and then you will be certified as a coach under my program. One of the things I will do for coaches that certify with me, I will make sure that I will always provide some type of continuing education for the coaches. Make sure that I speak to professionals where they can talk to you about the particular fields that you may be coaching in, the interest that you may have, because of the fact that now the coaching is not just on narcissist, is not a coaching program. This is a coaching certification program in any field that you want to coach in: healthcare, life coaching, marriage coaching. Some people menopause coaching. Some of you guys do want a narcissist abuse recovery coaching. All sorts of coaching is going to give you the basic foundation where you can create your own niche. You create your own niche of coaching, and that's what I'm going to help you to do. Now, because of the fact that I specialize in narcissist abuse, I will also offer up that opportunity to train you more, those that are interested in that, to train you more so that you can fine-tune your niche when it comes to this type of work. Now, like I said, this is not, the coaching program is not focused on narcissist abuse. It is focused on any type of coaching that you want to do. You create your own niche, and we'll talk about that. I specialize in narcissist abuse recovery, and I will be offering a course on nailing your niche when it comes to that and finding out what you're going to specialize in when it comes to narcissist abuse recovery. I will be offering that as well. But first, I'm going to offer those courses. So I will be doing a free webinar to those of you that are interested in my coaching institute so that you can come to my free webinar and hear me talk to you about the program that I'm going to be offering and give you an opportunity to register and sign up, whether you want to sign up for the whole program or you want to sign up per module first. Once you're completed with that, I'll be creating a website, and on those websites, you guys are going to send me pictures when you're done, because I'm going to send you a certificate and I'm going to send you a surprise gift box. But I'm also going to take your pictures, and we're going to create a website that's going to have your information down as coaches so that we can advertise your services on this page. We're also going to create resource pages where we're going to share resources for any type of work that you guys are doing. So any type of work that you guys are doing, we're gonna do resource pages to make sure that people have resources. Some of you guys want to help people with resume writing. Some of you guys want to help with not just resume writing, helping people get jobs, getting into the job field, dressing for success, nutrition, all sorts of stuff. But we're going to create resource pages where you guys send me information, and we're going to upload this information. Some of you guys are coaches, and so once you get your pages up and going, we're going to make sure that we put those pages in there for you to make sure that I advertise you guys under the program, okay? But there will be a special gift box to those of you that complete, coaching under me and get certified under me. You're going to get a beautiful certificate and a surprise gift box, and in the gift box there's going to be some things in there just for you. So just give me 10 minutes. Let me answer some questions and talk to me. Tell me, talk to me and ask me your question, okay? Felicia, Can you give me advice? I've been out of the situation for 3 years, but I'm not moving forward and I'm dealing with health issues. That's a very broad question. That's a very broad question, and that advice would mean that you would have to make an appointment with me. That's a very broad question. So that's a very broad and personal question, a one-on-one question. You would have to make an appointment with me for me to answer that question. I thank God it took, I look 25 plus younger. That's what I'm talking about. Is it Ortella? Ortella? Go ahead then. Now, Ortella sounds like a female name. Please let me know if you are a woman or a man, or how do you identify? Please forgive me. Ortella sounds like a woman, so I don't want to say, go ahead, girl, and then you're like, no, I'm a man. So please forgive me. 6 minutes? Okay. So is there any other questions anybody would like to ask? Anybody want to say anything? You want, okay. So yes, ma'am. Go, girl, Ortella. Go ahead. See, we get our youth back. Any other questions? Any other questions? Anybody would like to ask me any questions? You are welcome. You are welcome to ask me questions. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to let you guys go to sleep because I know you're tired. What time is it? Yeah, it's time to go to sleep. Some of you guys have to go to work tomorrow. Go ahead, Artella. That's what I'm talking about. Thank God I don't look like, hey, a lot of us don't look like what we've been through. So thank God I got my youth back, right? Oh, this is Artella's first time being live with me. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And thank you, Karen, Miss Karen. I appreciate Auntie Karen. Thank you so much for inviting her if you invited her. Thank you so much for being here. I haven't scheduled the free webinar yet because I'm finishing the module. As soon as I'm finished with the module, the first module, and I have the workbook ready for you guys, it should be this week. Now this week, you know, it's a little tight knit for me because I'm taking my daughter to college on Tuesday, and then I'll have time and I should finish it up this week. So I will be advertising, and then once I'm advertising, I'm gonna advertise for the free webinar, and then after that I will launch that module for those of you guys. It's gonna be pre-recorded, and then of course after that it's also group coaching to help you guys with that first module. Okay, so thank you guys so much. Well, thank you so much, Miss Karen, and thank you. Hold on, let me see how to pronounce that name again. Ortella. Ortella. Thank you so much for coming here. I hope you come back. Normally I post during the week. I usually record on TikTok, and then I post on all my channels. The only reason why I haven't been doing that is I have to stay focused. I have to stay on track with what I'm doing. And usually when I sit down and start recording, it takes up a little time. So I'll be back on track again. Like I said, you know, I'm finishing the course, and so I'll be back on track. I usually post during the weekday. I just haven't been posting on the weekday, but I want to make sure that I stay consistent with coming on live on Sundays, okay? And I appreciate all of you guys for being here. If you guys don't have any more questions, you know, anybody have any more questions? Thank you so much, Miss Ortella. I appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. And make sure you come to Clubhouse on Tuesday. Miss Karen will let you know about Tuesdays. So thank you so much for being here. Anybody else would like to ask any questions? Would anybody else like to ask any questions? Mercedes, would you like to ask any questions? I already know you're going to say no. Is that it for tonight? Is that it, everybody? Let's see here. Uh-oh. Is that it, everybody? You'll call me? Oh, you'll call me with a question? Okay. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much. If there are no more questions, then I'm going to let you guys go to sleep. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back. My name is Dr. Carmen Bryant. You can follow me on all social media if you like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Where else am I at? Facebook. Come join me on Facebook. And I will be posting. the information that you guys are inquiring about the institute that I am opening, the coaching institute that I'm opening. And I appreciate all of you for being here. Great to see you too, sis. And I hope we get to see you during the holidays. But I appreciate everybody. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much to all three of my moderators. I appreciate you guys for always taking care of me. Thank you, Mercedes, for coming on. My baby girl came and supported me. And thank you so much, Dr. Hooper, for coming on and supporting me as always. Powerful man and great guy. He was with them little grandkids that I had, and they kind of liked him. We're gonna take him over to you so you can babysit him. But you guys have a wonderful evening. I'll be back next week. I'll try to post something this week, but if I can't really promise because we are headed to college, so I will see you guys next Sunday. You guys have a wonderful evening. I hope you guys have a great week. You guys go and be great. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Good night, Facebook. Okay, I'm getting over there. I'm great in my YouTube. Good night, you guys. You guys have a great evening.